Why do I do this to myself? Honestly, no idea.
For the past year, I have woken up at 3 a.m. every single day. Now, originally I started doing this as part of a hybrid monk mode system I developed based off Imam Ghazi's monk mode system. But rather than doing it for just 1 or 2 months, you do it for a whole year, where you're just focused on yourself and getting your future self for success. But it was probably one of the most mentally taxing things I've done my whole life, and I still feel it to this day, even after I've stopped. Every day waking up feeling kind of dreading, knowing I've got time pressure, which I didn't used to have. Because waking up at 3 a.m. changed everything for me. It gives you a whole new perspective on life. So all of you, even if it's just for a week, try waking up at 3 a.m. for a week. And not waking up and going back to sleep, but waking up and actually just doing work in the morning. Or even enjoying yourself in the morning. Just do something in the morning before you go to your lazy work or school, where you just feel like a bit of right, it's too packed, you get on the bus, it's all tight, you get to school, everyone's just working, come home, do your homework. It's just not a nice feeling when that's the first thing you do when you wake up. So there's really big advantages to doing it. There's 3 main pros I really liked about it. One is that you finished your day when everyone else started it. So when you get into school and it's like 7:30, you've left for school, you get to school at about 8:30, that's usually the start of your day, and you're thinking, oh, I've got this dreaded day ahead of me. I got to get home, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And your whole day is just set up for failure because you haven't achieved anything meaningful throughout your days, and you're just kind of roboting through and waiting for the weekend. The weekend is coming, but you're just waiting those 5 days, just have 2 days of freedom where you just laze around. Whereas when I started waking up really early, since the start of year 12, I had the whole morning where if I wanted to get schoolwork done before school, I could. If I wanted to work on YouTube, I could. I would record videos at about 3:30 in the morning. If you look back to some of my really old videos when I first started YouTube, you can see my curtains. It's pitch black outside because I was recording them before praying Fajr. Imagine how beautiful that is. You wake up and you get to work on something you enjoy, rather than doing your school or your work, which of course is important. I mean, you need money or you need the education. But imagine you can do something that means a lot more to you every morning. How much better would your life be? Even if you just do it for a week, try it. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to feel a bit tired for a few days, and then you go back to sleeping at midnight and waking up at 7 and getting out the door within 3 minutes. The next benefit I had was my salah. Now imagine if rather than thinking, oh, I have to wake up for Fajr and be so tired and go back to sleep and I have to make sure I wake up again at the right time, that kind of panic a lot of us have, especially in the summer where the times between each salah is very open, so that you have to get up really early, go to sleep really late. Imagine if you could just wake up, pray, and then you have time. There were hadiths that say that the Prophet didn't sleep after Fajr, and so you can take that there has to be some sort of benefit of this. No bad is out at Fajr when compared to Isha. If you look at night, if you are to go out at midnight, the amount of dangerous things you'd probably see if you go to the city is a lot worse than if you go out at Fajr. Because there are very few people out at Fajr, and those that are, they might be going to the masjid, they might be going for a run. Yeah, of course you see the occasional dodgy looking person, but usually in the mornings, in those hours, there's a lot less bad going on than if you go at 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. where it's all just degeneracy. So even if you decide to go on a walk in the morning, alhamdulillah, I feel a lot safer walking around at 5:30 in the morning than I do walking around at 11 p.m. Just because no one bad is really out, and of course can't guarantee anything, there's risks to everything, but it feels so nice to walk even in just some fresh air. There's no cars out, so the air is fresh, no pollution. Alhamdulillah, it's the best feeling to just take a few deep breaths in that air every morning and just walk around and watch the sunrise after you pray. Even if you can just look out your window for 5 minutes or less than that, watching the sunrise. Not only is that how your circadian rhythm is meant to be trained before humans were introduced to artificial light, but it's actually just really refreshing to your mind. You feel like the day has finally started for everyone. I've already done 3 hours of work. And imagine, alhamdulillah, how good that feels, that you're ahead of the game. Every day I'd go into school knowing that my last lesson was my last bit of education for the day, where everyone else is dreading going home to do homework for 3 or 4 hours, or to procrastinate for 3 or 4 hours and then feel like shit the next day, then get a detention. I would go in and know this is my last lesson, this is all I need to do for today. And then in the afternoon, if I want to sleep, I can sleep. If I want to work, I can work. I can do whatever I want. And there's also no distractions at 3 a.m. We all know this happens. Like, you get back, you think, oh, I've got like 4 hours where I can do what I need to do. I can get my work done. I can even go to the gym. I can go outside. But then you get a random call. Oh, your friends are going somewhere. Do you want to go? You kind of have to go. Or you might not want to go, but then you feel stressed because you don't want to go. Or maybe there's a family event you might need to attend. Or maybe someone wants to see you. But if these really aren't worth your time, if they're small things you usually have to say yes to, if people know that you're asleep, what are they going to do? They're not going to come to your house and take you most times. Unless it's like an emergency, in which case you should, get up and go. But it just means you have so much more me time. And that's something we've really lost. In the age of like constant connection, even at home, your doors are open. Anyone can come and call you. Anyone can message you. Anyone can call you on Discord or whatever at any time of the day. But imagine if in the morning when no one else is up, or those that are up are just working on themselves, you can also be up and join them and get all your work done. And no one will distract you. Imagine how much better that is long term for your productivity. Some of the best students actually do this for exam season. I first did this for my GCSEs. This is when I first tried this method. About a week for my GCSEs, I was like, look, I'm gonna change my sleep schedule. I stayed up all night one night, and then I went to bed at 6 p.m. the next day. I would wake up around 2:30 a.m. and just study before my exams. And because I haven't slept, I haven't forgotten anything. Because I haven't gone over all my notes, whatever, all my exam questions, and then gone to sleep. I've done them, and I'm still awake, so I remember what I've just done, right? I would go into those exams knowing exactly what I needed to know, rather than thinking, oh, what did I do last night? Do you factorize with the X or the Y? All of these things where it's it can be confusing in exams. That went away from me instantly. Whenever we have mini tests in school, as long as I know the day before the exam, I can study the morning of the exam. So the content is fresh in my head. And I'm also a lot calmer when I go in, because I felt like, I know I've just done this all day. This is just another part of my day, just walk on through it. Whereas if you've woken up and, oh, there's an exam first period in the morning, you get up, you've taken a shower, you've gone to school, first thing, you do these questions. But you're not prepared for them. Whereas if you had woken up a bit earlier and done those questions, you'll be a lot more prepared for them. But there are very big downsides to this. There's a few main ones. One is that you lose a lot of social time. A lot of people want to see you. You want to go out with your friends sometimes after school. You might have an event you have to go to. You might have a club after school. And you kind of can't go, or you're going to be sleep deprived. So yeah, you can nap in between them, or you can try and sleep less, but that can't be good for you either. If you're sleeping less and less and less, so eventually that's going to be bad for your health. Making sure that you know the risk you're taking by going into this phase, and those that are around you, your loved ones, your friends, your family, know that you're doing this for the sake of your focus, not to ignore them. As long as that's ensured, you should be fine. But make sure you're not compromising on your gym, so find a 24-hour gym or a gym that opens early. Find some sports clubs that are in the morning, maybe before school. I know a lot of people swim before school. If your sports clubs are after school only, this might be a problem if they're in the afternoon. And also, it can be very difficult for some people to understand that you're doing work in the morning. I know my dad, even after a whole year, he's like, when do you study? Why don't you study after school like normal people? I was like, Dad, I study before school. Don't worry, I do study. But it can be sometimes very hard for especially parents that are so used to kids waking up late, going to sleep late, waking up really, really early. And they may understand that you're trying to do it to be successful. They may also say it's not going to work in the working world. And it probably isn't. I've had this conversation with quite a few people that this isn't sustainable for years and years and years. It might be, but you'd have to do a whole lot of training to yourself to get used to it, and it's not something that might be worth it for everyone. But if you're working from home, or if you finish at 5 and you go to sleep at 6:30, you can make it work. It's not impossible. It's just learning to train yourself around these things and to adapt your life to make sure you do enjoy yourself. You can enjoy yourself on the weekend. Just because you're waking up early doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself on the weekend. You can go and have fun early. If anything, stuff is more open, less queues, you can get stuff done more. You'll actually enjoy yourself more because you know that your weekend is a lot more refreshing than if you're waking up late and you're tired and your sleep schedule's all gone. It's just so much better. So I urge you to try it, even if it's just for 7 days. Inshallah it goes well. Obviously speak to a medical professional first before doing anything, and Allah Hafiz.